What's up, everybody, and welcome to my live reaction to the ACOLYTE season finale here. I don't know how long I'm going to be on here live, to be honest with you, because I'm pretty disappointed by what we got. Can you guys hear me? I just want to make sure you guys can hear me because I haven't got my things 100% connected just yet. And I'm using... because I just finished recording my reaction, which will be up on the channel probably tomorrow, as soon as they can get it done. But here, let me reconnect my stuff here as I said, just finishing up my recording. Okay, now I can hear myself. All right. Yeah. I mean, what can we say here, everybody? This was, disappointing. I think I would have to say disappointing. I had hoped that there would be some really phenomenal payoff at the end, and there wasn't. And it was all the things that people were complaining about with the show came back to visit it big time while we were watching it, and this was just a rough situation to experience here. There will be spoilers in this reaction. And I said, I may go 15 minutes. I may go 30. I may go, I don't know, how long I'm going to go. There are some things I want to talk about because I have my reaction that I just recorded, which will be up tomorrow. We're going to do a live review, just letting you know right now, a live review tomorrow at 7 p.m. PT with the Geek Buddies. So you'll get to hear me, Mike, and Shannon break it down. We'll have more of the Easter eggs. Perhaps we'll have some comments from people involved with the show that we can reference and kind of take a look at. But thanks to everybody who's joining me live right now. I really appreciate it. And I just want to wait a little bit before I get too deep into my reaction. As you know, with the shows, when they go live, if you'd like to send in any Streamlabs and Super Chats, you can as we go along. I can pin it in the chat real quick. But most of it's streamlabs.com/John Rocha says, or send in your super chats. I will read them as we go along here. But yeah, man, this was a disappointing finale for me overall. Mostly because they didn't do a strong enough job building up the Osha and Mae storyline throughout the season. And if you're going to end with the way they ended this episode, this finale, for it to have an emotional payoff, you've got to be invested in these characters. Now, look, you may have watched it and been like, I'm going to add all my shit to Osha and Mae. I'm going to add all this stuff in my mind. I'm going to do headcanon. I'm going to create all the things that Leslie Headland and the writers and Dave Filoni didn't add to this situation. And then I will be satisfied by this finale because we had a tearful reunion of Osha and Mae. For those of us who aren't sitting here fabricating headcanon for this storyline, fabricating headcanon for these two characters, this was supremely disappointing from beginning to end because at no point did we ever see Osha and Mae as children caring for each other, liking each other, having fun adventures together. At no point did we see that, right? Our first experience with them is at the Bunta tree, and Osha has gone off on her own because she doesn't want to be around Mae. Why? Because Mae is a vindictive, angry little thing capturing butterflies. And when they're walking back, Mae is the one that forces Osha to say the stuff about their relationship. 2 is 1, 1 is 2. Whatever, if people want to memorize that phrase that they have. And the only time we see them kind of hanging out with each other being kind of cool is when they walk in the village and like do awkward highs to everybody, awkward princess highs. Hi. And they get their macaroons or whatever it was. That's the only time we see them have any semblance of a sisterly relationship. The rest of the 2 episodes on Brendok, they are battling with each other. They are fighting with each other. Mae is mad that Osha wants to be a Jedi. And then, the stuff blows up, sets fire to the place, and then she's gone, right? And so when they come back together, there is no tearful reunion conversation, clearing of the air. Even Osha earlier in the season is like, no, you know what? Mae's y'all's issue. I don't really need to reunite with my long lost sister. I'm going to go be a mechanic. You all handle this shit. And Sol is the one that tricks her into being, well, not tricks her, but talks her into being bait so that they can have this situation. And what does it lead to? It leads to this finale. You know, remember, she's still wearing the helmet at the beginning of the show. This is all still in the same day, or maybe the next day at most. And Sol admits that he killed Mae and Osha's mom, Mother Anastasia. And Osha, who has had years with this man, years of training, years of conversation, who let her go because she couldn't get over her anger about what happened on Brendok. And then they reunited and they have, you know, all these other mini adventures this entire season. And in the critical moment where he could explain what happened, and I get it, Sol is pig-headed and he's like, no, you know, I did the right thing. So that's bad. Like Sol still holding on to that is, of course, bad. Of course, still thinking he did the right thing, not wanting to see the mistake of his actions. Of course, that's bad. You know, and certainly if you're making a commentary on the colonial side of things, or colonialist side of things, then yeah, that's not a good thing you want to hear. But to sit there and be like, I'm going to force choke you to fucking death because you said you killed my mom. I'm not going to find out about why you did it. I'm not going to bother asking you or remembering the years of our relationship and friendship and mentor-mentee situation. I am not going to explore any of that. I'm not going to give you a chance to explain yourself. No, all of a sudden, Osha, who has not shown at all that I can be super crazy emotional about anything, I'm going to all of a sudden be this emotional, crazy person. I'm going to force choke you to fucking death. Then I'm going to whip out my lightsaber, turn it red, and turn it on Qimir. And look, normally, if this was constructed well and built up well and supported by instances in the show, we'd have led to this awesome empowerment moment. This is an empowerment moment. I know exactly what the women behind this show were focusing on. They wanted Osha to have this moment. A man lied to you, betrayed you, fucked you over. You're going to force choke him to death. You're going to embrace your power, and you're going to stand strong with your lover, a future lover. That is totally an ET. All these people who said, like, no way is Qimir and Osha going to end up together. That last shot motherfucking tells you they're going to end up together. They're going to be a relationship or whatever, if there is a season 2. But like, none of that was empowering. None of it. I'm sorry. And it's not because I'm a dude. It's because, like, you're looking at it story-wise. It doesn't work. And then Mae being like, oh, you want to replace me with Osha? That's totally cool, Qimir. I know I've spent years training with you, but you know what's totally cool? What, you gonna mind wipe me? Oh man, all right, take it away. This is totally cool. Anything for my sister. Anything from who I haven't seen in 16 years. And the last time we saw each other, I set a fucking fire and I hated her for wanting to become a Jedi. What? Like, it makes no sense. And the mind wipe, that is a cop-out of a motherfucking story decision. That is so lame. That is so lame. How are we going to get away? Well, I could mind wipe you. What? Oh, man. So just I'm okay. Mammoth said, John, I hated this episode so much, and I'm black and a gay. Fight scene's great, but yes. Okay, so yes. So, you know, let's go. We'll get back to the other stuff. Yes, but the fight scenes were fantastic. Like, Lee Jung Jae and just Manny Jacinto going at it. That was fun. That was a shit ton of fun. Going at it again. And don't ignore the red versus blue, which I think is on purpose, to be honest with you. But the battle there was badass. And I thought that was cool. And juxtaposing it with Amanda Stenberg essentially fighting herself, which, of course, there's stunt doubles and what have you that are taking the place and swinging around, and great CG work to make it seem so fluid. So the fight battle, that all was cool. Ending up back on Brendok, I thought was interesting and cool. Having Sol walk through the shadows of the memories of what happened there the last time he was well, I guess he was there before, but no, I guess he wasn't. This is his first time back. Correct me if I'm wrong. This is his first time back in the show, because Brendok stuff, Kofar stuff was Kofar stuff. Brendok is different. So I think it's his first time back on Brendok in the show, walking amongst the ruins of what happened, right? And you're going to tell me after the death of Andor, which, by the way, what a fucking letdown that Carrie-Anne Moss was basically killed in the first episode and turned into, in my opinion, a toothless leader of these 3 other Jedi. And I don't know why she accepted this role. Like, I don't know why she accepted the role, because it brought her nothing, like just nothing. And there was no real satisfying situation with her where, like, you got to see her be a fucking badass, and I think there was like one sequence in last episode, we got to see her do a little bit of fighting, but it wasn't much. And then at the end, you're like, well, what was the point of all of this? And so what was the point of casting her if you're not going to give her something more to do and kill her off in the first episode? That is such a letdown. And then the Kelnaka, what the fuck? I mean, as I said last episode in my reviews and my reactions, what a colossal waste of a character. What a colossal waste of a character. This is a live action Wookiee Jedi. A live action Wookiee Jedi. And what they're doing is giving him no character development, basically giving him an occasional, in reaction to stuff. And yes, it's pretty badass that he got in the fight with Torben. But I shouldn't have to read an EW article or an interview with Leslie Headland to find out why he has tortured and removed himself and put himself in that Shrek swamp that he was in because of the guilt of everything. I think it was Leslie or one of the people involved that said it was because he used his claws, and that's like, a bad thing to do in the Wookiee culture. What the fuck? Like, let's talk about it. Put it in the fucking show. Why wouldn't you put that in the fucking show? Why isn't Kelnaka having a conversation with Mae about before, or Qimir, or who, with Mae? Maybe you don't kill him off just yet, but like, why isn't he having a conversation about what happened and about what he went through? He just got used to make little circles and whatever, So, and then Torben, look, as someone who almost took his life in 2016, I appreciate, and who has had mental health still struggle every once in a while with mental health issues. I get it, right? I get it. I've been homesick when I first joined the military. The first few months were really fucking hard. I missed my home. When I went to Florida State, my first year at Florida State, I missed my home. I had homesickness. It's tough. I get it. If you're a sensitive person, if you're an empath, if you've got any kind of sympathy for people, you've got emotions that you can use. So I get it, right? And I want to say this respectfully, I respect that people created this whole headcanon for Torben that is not in the show. It is not in the show. I don't care what any of you say, like, oh, they gave a look, and then the look meant 25 posts in a thread about what happened with Torben. Nonsense. Utter fucking nonsense. There was nothing that was delivered about Torben. Nothing. What happens after that? Why don't we see Torben dealing with the aftermath of this? Why don't we see Torben tortured by this? Why don't we have scenes with these other Jedi so that we have a better idea of these characters? So that when we see that they take their lives, when we see the scenes later and we see that Torben took his life in the second episode, when we see scenes later in the season, we can be like, oh, I understand now. I get it. Like, he was going through all kinds of shit, and it was something he couldn't get past. He really struggled with it. He tried to fight through it. He tried to figure it out, all this kind of stuff. No, none of that is in here. None of that is in here. Indara. Mae comes to confront Indara. Instead of Indara going, oh my God, you're alive. You survived what happened on Brendok. Wait, please stop. Please stop. I know what we did was wrong. I know what happened was wrong. Let me talk to you about it, right? No, let's fucking fight. I'm going to toss 2 knives into you because you want to save a kid. Again, this utterly wasted. There is no separate sequence. There is no separate time with Indara off of Brendok where we're seeing the progression of her guilt over what happened. I should have been stronger. I should have stopped them. Why did I let this happen? Why wasn't I strong? Like, there's all this stuff in inner life that we can explore. Even with Sol, who was in the show, of course, and had separate stuff. At no point do we see Sol like confiding in anybody or talking to him. There's no scene with him and Vernestra going through what happened on Brendok and talking it out. And the way the show ends with Vernestra essentially pinning everything on Sol, like Sol pinned everything on Mae, was disgusting. Absolutely fucking disgusting. You can explain it to me till you're green in the face like Vernestra. It's not going to fucking matter. It was a disgusting decision to toss him under the tape, under the bus, so that you can try to sweep this under the table and extend this out to a season 2. Super, super fucking lame. Like, super fucking lame. Yes, it was his. Yes, he killed Anisea, but he dies without no one explaining that he was scared in a moment and reacted in a moment because she was turning into that, Thanos snapping ash, and I freaked out. At no point is he allowed to plead his case to anybody, right? And I just don't understand that. And now the question is, did Vernestra know about this? And if she knew about this, why wasn't she more forceful in stopping these things? The part of writing a good story is that you don't create outs that are obvious outs simply because it works for your story. And by that, I mean, if she knew, she should have stopped them. Indara knew. Why didn't she stop them? Like, these are these questions, right? And it's not enough to be like, well, what was she going to do? You're a writer. What would they do? And so these are these things that you get frustrated by. And when you're watching something like Game of Thrones or even The Boys, which I know some people aren't enjoying. I'm loving The Boys this season. There's some good writing going on. Now with The Boys, there's the occasional moment of like, wait, how is A-Train able to have a conversation with Ashley in the Vought building while Homelander is in the same building and not hear the shit that they're planning? But you can explain that away. Oh, well, he's not focusing on it. So he's trained himself to tune out other noises or other voices, right? So, okay, fine. You can explain it. But this situation here, Vernestra tossing him under the bus in order to save herself for the Senate. I mean, this just paints the Jedi in a worser light than the Jedi were already painted. To say it was one person rogue. And look, I saw a bunch of people last week try to explain everything for, what happened in and of course, my feelings on it if you've watched my reviews. Last week was absolute colonialism. That's my opinion on it all. And everyone wanted to say like, oh, it's a bunch of mistakes or it's unfortunate misunderstandings. It's beyond that when you break an entry, right? Which, of course, Mae calls him out on. And Mae, deservedly so, calls out Sol for violating and doing all of that. But in the end, killing him off and then framing him for this situation is so disgusting. And you're just like, even a character like Vernestra, who was apparently very beloved by the High Republic readers and the people who love the High Republic, turning her into another cover-up Jedi, another female Jedi who covers up what happened, is just perplexing. And you can say, oh, well, she didn't see if Mae killed. She's been told that Mae killed these Jedi. She knows that Mae killed these Jedi. It was not Sol who killed Kelnaka. It was not Sol who killed Torben. It was absolutely Mae. And that's been the reports, right? And of course, we have the moment where she senses Qimir. And so all of us who speculated that those scars on his back that were brought by a light whip were from Vernestra. And how about that? Vernestra's only use of the light whip is to kill those overgrown moths or whatever they are on the planet, on the Kofar. So yeah. And then when you have the fight sequence, you have him fight Qimir, who, by the way, has trained Mae. Qimir has trained Mae. Mae is a student. She is not, the top person, right? Sol has just fought Qimir. Now, I can see people try to create a fantasy where, like, well, he was tired and his guard was down. Bull fucking shit. He's a master Jedi. Mae is just going to run in there and disarm him of his lightsaber. Nonsense. Just nonsense. Utter nonsense. And so that's the problem with bad writing sometimes, is that you go, well, we've got to get the lightsaber to here. How do we get the lightsaber to here? Oh, let's have Mae come in and disarm Sol in a moment after he's fought Qimir. Well, how's he going to be disarmed by her? Well, she's going to jump in and do a little move underneath. And it was like, this guy just threw Qimir into stone and beat two moving lightsabers and Qimir, who was coming in for a punch. So he was able to shoot away three separate things at once. But Mae's going to roll in with a simple roll move and take that away. It's just nonsense, as you guys know, for my shows, I am all about female empowerment. I'm down with it. I love it. Let's make it happen. But you got to make it believable. You got to make it work. And this idea that she's so smart and strong enough she could flip over and take the thing from Sol was just nonsense. Just nonsense. So yeah, I'm not hating on, I'm trying to, I'm pointing things out in my analysis and in my beliefs on what happened here. I'm not just hating to hate. All right. That's, you guys, the people who know me, watch my content, they know I don't hate to hate. I'm not one of those Star Wars people. I ain't trying to grift you. I ain't trying to do any of that shit. I'm just here to talk about it. And I felt like talking about it now. And look, something occurred to me tonight that I kind of am starting to embrace. And there is some real character development issues on these shows, other than Andor, which I thought is the crown jewel of Star Wars series. Even The Mandalorian, the first season and the second season, there are occasional episodes that are filler episodes that are trading on the cuteness of Baby Yoda that paper over some of the character development cracks or the storyline cracks. I don't see any storyline cracks or character cracks in Andor. But the problem with new Star Wars, and I'm starting to really see this, is that the character development in a lot of these series just don't hold up to criticism. They don't hold up to logical and fair criticism. And it's not enough to say, like, well, it's a space opera. What do you expect? Or it's a thing about people who lit swords. And no, fuck off. Like, everything is that, isn't it? Everything is that, right? Sopranos, hey, it's just a fantasy about mobsters. These guys didn't really exist. And it's like, fucking cut it out. You can write great stuff within whatever construct that you're creating. You can create great character work amongst something like X-Men 97. The character work there, my God, the storyline work there, my God, and so when you see, it just becomes disappointing. And I don't want to blame Leslie, and I'm not here to hate on Leslie. I think I love Leslie as a creator. I thought, as I said before, Single Drunk Female is one of my favorite shows of the last 5 years. Russian Doll is great. I think there's something else that she did that I really enjoyed. But like, this is a real letdown. And I don't know who was involved. I don't know who said what on what. I don't know who got involved and changed storylines. But what was supposed to be this really dark murder mystery exploration told from the Sith point of view became this disappointing, kind of flaccid show that didn't really achieve any of its goals that it was setting out to do. And yeah, I think it's wrong too. Jim says Leslie will probably get scapegoated. Yeah, and she shouldn't be. She should. This is a fault of everybody across the board. Everybody was involved in this. Filoni, Kennedy, everybody involved in this particular series. They should get the praise for the stuff that worked, and they should also get the blame for a lot of the stuff that didn't work. And there was a lot that didn't work in this series. And what did I say from the beginning? I said you can't judge this series until you see every episode. Then you can look back and you can have your feelings. I've said that since day one, that you cannot judge this series until it's all over. Well, it's all over. And now I'm happy to judge it and analyze it and criticize it and break it down and react to it in my way. And of course, we will have much more analysis and reviews with the Geek Buddies. We are going live tomorrow night for those. I've got 300 of you joining me live. Thank you so much. We're going live at 7 p.m. PT tomorrow night. Me, Michael Vogel, and Shannon McClung. Also, the Jedi Way will have our review later on this week as well, so look for that. But we'll go deeper into this stuff. And I mean, to drag this out to a second season is such a fuck you to the viewers. I'm sorry, it is. There's so many mysteries. What is the virgins? How were they created? How did Mother Anastasia create them? And what was it about her power that scared Sol? We still don't know. Right? That's ridiculous. We should know what this is all about. We should know how they are two parts of the same person. What is that? Don't they want to know? Don't Mae and Osha want to know how the fuck they were created? Why the hell they're considered two parts of the same person? Don't you think they'd want to know? And why does she go off with Qimir? Like, what is this? Like, oh, the one person who trained me lied to me. I'm going to choke this motherfucker out, and then I'm going to go with the evil guy. What? Like, what? So, just frustrating. And then Vernestra, after selling Sol out and throwing him under the bus, goes to see Yoda. So now Yoda, what's Yoda? Is Yoda going to cover this up too? Can Yoda not sense if Vernestra is telling the truth about the situation with Sol? Is Yoda going to call her out? I mean, I really doubt there'll be a second season. I just doubt it. But that ending was so like, what? You know? Oh man, why do these fucking just clowns, why do they embrace Soy Boy? Why do these flaccid, small dick, low self-esteem, low self-worth, can't love themselves people, why do they embrace the Soy Boy term? I don't understand it. It screams elementary school. Like, it really does. Like, if you're using that legitimately to attack anybody, your parents fucked up raising you. They really did. They fucked up raising you. Soy Boy, that is beyond hilarious. Like, it is like, oh no. Oh, you called me a soy boy. How shall I live? It's like, what is wrong with you? That's the best you got? Lord God Almighty, man. I've been called much worse in the military, in relationships, like in friends, like, you know, people battle. I've been called much worse. Soy boy is like it's just so nothing. But I guess they have to embrace that stupid shit. I guess they have to embrace that stupid shit. So, oh man, I feel bad for them though. But I do feel bad for you. You clearly need therapy. Anybody who uses Soy Boy needs some serious, intense therapy to figure out why they've become such a hateful person. Clearly, mommy and daddy either didn't love you enough, or they loved you too much, or you were born with some kind of deficiency in your mental health, and you need to see somebody about it, because honestly, like reverting to that kind of name calling is just it's, as I said, it's elementary school childishness. But I feel sorry for you. I do. I legitimately feel sorry for you. I'm not trying to hurt you now. Like, strip away the reaction. Like, I feel sorry for you that this is something you think is, logical discourse to have in a situation. So I just find it to be ridiculous. You call other people racist, sexist, bigot. I'm not angry. I'm not angry at all. I'm laughing at it. I'm not angry at all at being called this way, boy. Yeah, and I'll happily call other people racist, sexist, bigots who deserve it. 100%. I got no problem with that. They're the ones who get angry at me calling them that. It's you all who get angry. I don't get angry. I love battling, bro. Love it. It's in my bones, son. It is in my bones. I love to fight. It is, or debate rather. It's not about anger or any of that nonsense. Don't mistake my passion for anger. There is a difference. Like, maybe some of you who've grown up in those really frigid, emotionally, nobody talks about anything environments in your families, you don't understand what it's like when a person is like just this open with their emotions, this in touch with their emotions, got no problem in talking about it. It's a passionate person. It doesn't mean I'm angry. Angry, I'll come find you if I'm angry. Like, that's the difference. For me, it's more a matter of like, let's have a fun battle, and then I move on with my day. It ain't no big deal, So some of y'all just create your stuff. Yeah, there you go. What a jerk. That's all he's got. All right. Because poor Niall probably had a terrible upbringing, terrible parents. And this is this is the result of people like this. So it's a shame overall. Anyway, let's hit some of these super chats that have come through. Cliffmonger, what's up, Cliff? Or Chillmonger. Sorry, Chillmonger. So Star Wars is going through a YA phase. I hate it. Yeah, it does feel that way, doesn't it? I wouldn't hate it if it was written better. I wouldn't hate it if the storylines worked better. I wouldn't hate it if it was, because there's a lot of YA that is out there that is damn good. I once wrote an article about it for Collider years ago about some of the best YA stuff that's out there. So there is some good YA stuff out there. It's just that this is, so I think maybe what you're saying, Chillmonger, is they're going through a YA phase, but they're not, but you don't like the content. And because the content is not being written in a way that's really awesome, even within a YA construct, so I could get that. Elusive Rock says, pains me to say, but get rid of Filoni. He's lost it. Yeah, I don't know what Filoni's contribution to it is, but I do know that the writer who pointed out that Filoni gave notes on all the scripts turned off their social media, kind of shut that down from what I saw last time. I don't know if they turned it back on again, but like, they apparently, probably spoke out of turn and got in some trouble because there's an NDA you sign with Disney and Star Wars. You can't violate that. Maven the Reaper says, fight scenes, fire, story sucks, narrative routes, and had no payoff. Yes, agreed. Leaders have no power, are disobeyed. Character choices make no sense at all. Yeah, agreed. Yeah, very childish in its approach, right? I mean, it's not that leaders in Star Wars haven't made mistakes. Lord knows there's a history in the prequel trilogy, in the sequel trilogy, in the original trilogy of leaders in power making mistakes, misreading situations, not sensing Siths or danger. That's all, part of the game. But you've got to make it work, right? You've got to make it make sense. And it is not making sense when you look at a show like this, where, everybody violates the people who are supposed to be in powers, orders, or decisions, or choices. Even Basil in this episode was like, hey, man, fuck Sol. I'm going to tell you, he's about to kill May. I'm going to rip this apart. Why are you with May all of a sudden? You were the one that helped to take May down 2 episodes ago on the ship. Now you're like, oh, no, I'm going to be with May. I'm going to help her in this random moment. Why is Pip helping May over Osha when he was with Osha? Maybe there is something in the resetting, but again, not explained. You figure it out. And it's just like, okay, whatever. Maven, also the Reaper, also says Indara and Asaya, Vernestra, no one listens to leaders. John, why did that creature stop Sol? Why did he wreck the ship? I don't understand. Yeah, I just said that. Exactly. Why did Basil do that when he had just taken down May in the timeline of the show, not in actual weeks, because it was 2 weeks ago, but in the timeline of the show, this is literally later on that day or the next day when all of this is happening. And he conspired with Sol to take down Mae and have her be strapped to a table. So it makes no sense. And all of a sudden he's like, oh shit, I don't like what's happening here. I'm going to go into business for myself and just mess this ship up. This makes no sense. And then Sol says nothing to Basil about it. Like Sol doesn't get pissed off or confront him or anything. It's just like, I guess that's what he wanted to do. Okay. Kevin Smith says, can't wait for the Jedi way. I have thoughts. Thank you, Kevin. Good to see you in here, brother. You never have to send in money, Kevin. You know that. I am Two Fly Cam says, Basil switching him constantly in this episode. LOL. Yeah, Basil's almost as much of a flip-flopper as Mae, to be honest with you. 1 second in and out. I mean, come on. And this is where I think it is poor writing. And I did not want to jump on the writing. I did not want to jump on the writing for a few episodes. I wanted to wait to let this thing spread its wings and do its thing. But yeah, I mean, you have to question the writing, don't you? I mean, because things were done for convenience sake to get to a story point. That is not good writing. If you are like, well, we need to get to here, so let's have a Mae switch allegiances. Let's have Basil switch allegiances. Let's have this. It just doesn't make sense. How do we get them out of this situation? Oh, I know. Qimir can mind wipe her and just randomly propose it. And then it's done in like 3 seconds or what, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, whatever. Completely mind wipe her. It's like, what? Smithy says, thanks for going live, Rocha. Whether you love the Acolyte or not, and you clearly don't, we can all agree that the Star Wars galaxy is a fantastic and beautiful place that we all love to go to. May the Force be with you. May the Force be with you too, Smithy. Yeah, I love going to it. I do, and I'll keep going back to it. Skeleton Crew is coming up next. And because I enjoy it and I love it. And a lot of people don't know this, but the way I got into this business, or some people don't know this, the way I got into this business was co-hosting the show with was it Far, Far Away with Christian and Tiffany Smith, and then eventually Tiffany Smith and I. So my entry into this entire pundit sphere was Star Wars, and it'll always remain a piece of my life. And so I will always come back to it and watch it because I live in the hope, a new hope, that it'll be good, Artem Shakramanyan. I hope I said that right, brother. The only difference between Andor and Acolyte is that Andor is awesome and Acolyte sucks, in my opinion. Yeah, it's a big difference. You're not wrong. It's a pretty big difference. Let's see here. The Dart 005 says, I feel bad for Daphne K. Her entry into Star Wars should have been better. Also, can't stand the Green Lady Jedi. Yeah. I mean, look, again, I've said this on our reviews and reactions. I like Rebecca as an actress. I thought I loved her in Single Drunk Female, Russian Doll, other things that she's been a part of. She's Leslie's wife, I think. And I don't like to get into people's personal business, but yeah. But yeah, this was not a good Vernestra. She was not strong as Vernestra. There is how can I say this? There's an inner power that Vernestra radiates from the stuff I've read of her and the research I did to get ready for the show over the last few weeks. There's a regal power to her. I mean, nothing in Rebecca's performance makes you feel like this was a prodigy that at 15 years old became a Jedi. Like, nothing about it reeks it. Maybe the one moment where she sensed Qimir, there was something there, like something strong there, right? But every interaction, even when she tries to dismiss David Harewood, and how about a finale just introducing new characters right at the end? All right, I'm gonna block this idiot because enough is enough. Like, when you start insulting the people in here, you can go fuck the hell off. So when you see her confronting David Harewood's character, David is, that's a powerful presence as an actor. And she's trying to dismiss him and get rid of him and put him out the door. She is not coming off strong in that scene at all. And then later when she's talking to the council, it's not believable. Like everybody at that table feels like they've got more strength than her, and they don't even speak, and so it didn't quite work for me. Shannon has been pretty harsh on Rebecca in this role. He's not harsh on her as an actress in this role. And I've been kind of holding out hope that there was some like badass moments to come with her, but they never came in the finale. And in the end, it's, again, another disappointing part of the show, and I just feel terrible. TKO says our hate and anger has brought us together. I don't have hate. I don't have anger. I have frustration. There's a difference, right? Anger is an easy emotion. That's not where I think anger is the province of the simple-minded. I go into frustration or disappointment, or being let down. These are the places I go to. So I don't have hate. I don't have anger. Jim 1 says Vernestra turned into a Jason Bourne villain. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, right. Like Treadstone or whatever. Like, yeah, she's got all the information and what have you, and how she's going to use it is her business, right? Let's see. Rishi Shukla. Thank you, Rishi. He says, can you explain your point of view on why Mae and Osha had to part ways? Why was it necessary to mind wipe Mae instead of taking them with her? It made no sense at all to me. Well, I'd love to explain like why that happened, but I can't because it makes no sense. It literally makes no sense other than we don't have the budget to keep CGing her by their side. And we also need to have her in separate places so Amandla can act in two different situations if we go into a season 2, just like they did in this season, right? Giving her own journey as Mae, her own journey as Osha, and people around her are acting with Amandla Stenberg as she's playing the two different roles, right? So it's expensive to do two people as twins fighting each other and being around each other. If you do a whole season where they're around each other, I suppose you could do, write scenes where they're in separate rooms, having interactions with different people. So it's a way of saving, but it's a lot to coordinate and do all that. But yeah, the thing is, it makes no sense to me too, because Mae has been Qimir's student. And now all of a sudden, as I said earlier, for those who've been watching since the beginning, all of a sudden under the Bunta tree, literally in a split second, when Qimir says, Osha, I can train you, or Osha says, I want to go train with him. Mae's like, oh, cool, go ahead. She doesn't fight him, for this is the same Mae who trapped butterflies and trapped, or whatever that was, and set fire to the place, and then killed three Jedi. Indara. No, she didn't kill Kelnaka. That was Qimir, but she killed Indara and Torvin in essence. And apparently, took the lightsaber away from Sol. But all of a sudden, she's like, yeah, go ahead, train my sister. I'm cool. Like, I get it. I don't, go ahead. After their tearful reunion, come on. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't. I don't care what you say. And look, I know people are going to create and write like 20 post threads where they create this phenomenal headcanon that is not in the show. And I don't care, like, oh, there was a look, there was a hint, the word, this meant nonsense. It's not in the show. And that's the fault of the show, and so you can try to defend this all you want. And if you like it, more power to you. Honestly, I'm not going to tell you not to like anything you like, because there's things I like that people don't like. And so it's the way it goes. It's art. It's always subjective. But for me, it made no sense. And the mind wipe thing is such a cop out story-wise. That's such a cop out, It's like, it's almost on the borderline of Deus Ex Machina, which also is a bit of a cop out when I see it in shows. Derek Johnson. What's up, Derek? He says, I've never been a big Star Wars fan, but I've tried to really get into the lore, mythology, and story. That's awesome. That's how you need to do it, brother. There's no consistency in storytelling mythology. Nobody's leading the ship. That finale should have been the penultimate episode. Yeah, possibly. And then you have Yoda in the finale taking much more of an interest in the situation, guiding Vernestra from afar, and maybe, figuring out what happened here. Because what is Vernestra going to do? Is she going to lie to Yoda about what Sol did? Is that what we're setting up here? Because that would surprise me if that's the route they took with the situation, And even the opening, I haven't talked much about the opening. Her wearing the helmet, and for the helmet for some reason gives her visions of Mae killing Sol and reaching out to Sol, and now they're going to go together on the ship. They're just going to work together. I mean, Qimir just had, listen, in the timeline of the show, don't get it twisted, right? Because it's been 3 weeks since Qimir killed Yord and Jecki. And so much has happened in our lives. Literally so much has happened in our lives over the last 3 weeks, especially if you live in America, that we might think oh, it's been a bit. But in the storyline, in the time of the show, it is still just a day or 2 or 3 since he killed Yord and Jecki, her new friend Jecki, and Yord, her old friend. And so for her to be I saw Mae doing this, I'll just get on a ship with you. Oh, and we're going to throw in some weird creature with fingers peeking out to give you oh, what's that for season 2? Without explaining it to you. It was so lame. It was lame, and I hated that. And then they pitched the whole Sol's going to have this conversation. As I said earlier, 16 years I've been waiting to have this conversation. They never have the conversation. He's a master Jedi, but he gets tricked by her using a droid. Really, he's not going to hear the droid, sense the droid, nothing like that. And she's going to stab him with that. He's not going to see her moving her hand. You're a master Jedi. He's not going to see her moving her hand towards him with the fucking thing. It's just what they ask us to believe is just ridiculous, right? And it doesn't work. And she gets away on that escape ship. It just, again, I get that you're trying to empower young women. I totally get it. But you got to make it work in the construct of the show. And it just didn't, in my opinion. In my opinion. Some of you may like it, but it didn't for me. Artem Shakramanyan. Sorry, Artem. I hope I'm saying that. Artem. The constant flip-flopping on the show looks like a writing level deficiency. Yeah, I agree, man. I wish someday we would find out what happened behind the scenes on all this Star Wars stuff. I'm going to drink right now. All this stuff. It would have been fun to see, but it's not there. And I agree. The flip-flopping was so frustrating when you're watching the show. What is this? Emilio says, Willis just said so much money, and you now, John, could have made an awesome show with all those funds in 4 years. Oh, I've got some awesome shows, bro. If you think something should have 100, if you think a show isn't awesome because it doesn't have 100,000 views, you're an utter moron. You're an absolute moron. Because by that logic, I imagine, Emilio, you have 10 subscribers to your YouTube. So by that logic, I can say, wow, how long have you been on YouTube and you only have 10 subscribers to your channel? What a waste you are. So for you to come from me is beyond hilarious, because turning around the same logic makes you irrelevant. So, but yeah, what can you do? There's a lot of stupid people in the world. I am Two Fly Cam says the senator scene with Vernestra shows there is some writing talent here, but it was overshadowed by childish decisions, Ahsoka level bad writing. Yeah, bro, I would agree with you. The scene with her and David Harewood was fantastic. What a powerful energy to have in the room, and certainly teasing the issues that are going on here, kind of relating to real world stuff. This idea that we need to launch a special investigation of the Jedi, an oversight committee, dare I say, to watch over the Jedi and the mistakes they've made. All of that was really interesting and valid. And I wish that had been a much more integral part of the show. Vernestra fighting off the council or the senators who are trying to find out what's going on, that could have given Vernestra a really interesting narrative life to have on the show. Having her trying to hide things from the council, trying to keep things under wraps, her and Kiadi Mundi and other people trying to make sure this doesn't get out, and certain senators coming in, confronting them, trying to force the Senate to do certain things. That would have been interesting. Having more of David Harewood earlier in the show, where he is the one leading these committees or oversight committees, or leading a small contingent of senators to go down to confront the Jedi and or bring the Jedi in front of them to be questioned. Like, there are things that could have happened here that would have been very interesting to see in the show and build up even more of the antagonism and more of the inner life of the character of Vernestra. That would have been fun to see. TKO says, I was talking more as Disney has created us to be the Sith. You've had nothing but love, respect. Watch you since the Collider days. Just found you again. Oh, thanks, TKO. I appreciate it. I appreciate it madly. Thank you, my friend. Let's see. It's because, okay, so here's my boy Tim. He says, it's because of the truth she learned from Sol, she had a change of heart. Where did we see that, Tim? Again, this is the danger. You are adding that. That is not in the show. At no point does Mae say, like, oh, I'm doing this because I didn't know all these other things. I didn't see what was going on. Like, it's not there. The tearful reunion and I'm sorry I didn't believe you. There's not a strength to that, because what Sol did was a reaction to a moment of fear because he didn't know what their mother was doing. So this tearful reunion of I should have believed you is hollow, because Sol wasn't vindictive in killing their mother. It was an accident of misunderstandings and mistakes. But it was not, fuck you, I'm going to kill you and I'm going to take your children from you. And so to paint it as a reason for them to reunite tearfully is so off base. It's so off base. It makes no sense. Let's see here. Please stand by says, God help us if we get a season 2. Yeah, I really doubt it. Really doubt it. Jim wants to so is Yoda now complicit in the cover up too? Yeah, that's a good question, Jim. I don't know, because once Yoda finds out about this, and again, you're a master Jedi. Yoda maybe above Vernestra. I don't read the High Republic books. I don't know if Yoda was involved in her training, was involved and kept tabs on her. But you're going to tell me he's not going to be able to sense if she's telling the truth or not to him about the situation with Sol? Come on now. Are we going to try to denigrate Yoda? Are we going to try to undercut Yoda now? You can't fuck with it. You fuck with Yoda, the whole fandom's going to turn on you. Absolutely. The whole fandom is going to turn on you. You can't mess with Yoda, dog. Not that Yoda doesn't make mistakes. Certainly in the prequel trilogy, and of course with Ahsoka, he's made mistakes. There's a difference between making mistakes and making you believe that he couldn't sense something or he doesn't know something. That's where the mistake would be. Tim says, could the execution of the show and its mystery be better? Certainly, and I understand the criticisms, but I've left satisfied with what we see as one of the origins of the Sith that we know in the Skywalker saga in a heartbreaking coming-of-age story. Wait, guys, explain this. What are you talking about, Tim, when you say one of the origins of the Sith that we know in the Skywalker saga? What Sith was presented to us? Am I missing this? You guys let me know. Am I missing what Sith was presented to us that we know in the Skywalker saga? I would like to know. So please explain it to me. And Tim, thank you, Tim. It's very kind of you to send such a massive super chat, brother. I appreciate it. You got your review in, and I respect that for sure. Tim also coming in and says, I don't know what to say other than sorry that this show did not work for you where it worked much better than I expected for me, especially the mystery and overall plot that I understand despite some minor imperfections. But there was no mystery, right? I mean, like, a lot of us guessed it was Qimir. A lot of us guessed that the things on his back were from Vernestra and the Light Whip. A lot of us guessed that Osha was going to turn bad by the end. There's really not a lot of mystery here. The only big twist was Sol, and that was unsatisfying because you didn't make it work why he'd want to save the kids, because, again, you don't explain his unnatural connection, bordering on grooming, in my opinion, to Osha. You didn't explain it in any way, shape, or form. And again, I'm not saying I'm 5 years old and you need to spoon feed me. I've seen very intelligent shows where I've had to figure out stuff. You have to, with something like this, though, you have to make it understandable why he would do the things that he did. Why was he so motivated to break and entering into this place? Why was the Virgence so important? And we get it for Torben. He wanted to go home to his studio apartment in Coruscant, maybe see his girlfriend or his mom. I don't know. But like the stuff with Sol, because he's a much more integral part of the show, you have to make it so that we feel it. Like, what is it that he is connected to here with Osha? Okay, they're part of the Virgence. They symbolize the Virgence. Okay, what does that mean? Let's go and explore that. But, none of that is explored here, unfortunately. And that in the end is what I think kind of blows us up a little bit in the long run, brother man. Artem is in here again. Artem, sorry. Let me see here. Artem says, someone need to check Sol's midichlorian level. Clearly has problems sensing what people do next to him and has problems sensing people hiding. Yeah, agreed. 100%. Like, yeah, I think that's a great point, Artem. Someone needs to check his M count. We don't want to say midichlorians, his M count, to see what is. Again, that's a breakdown of story. Can you be defensive and say, well, look, he just finished fighting Qimir. His guard's down a little bit. It's May. Sure. You can say that. But it doesn't make sense with how you've constructed the character. And especially when seconds before, he had just launched 2 lightsabers and 1 dude against a rock all the way across a field, or a place of battle there. You can't say that and say he can't sense a droid, that she's like trying to get herself out of the handcuffs, that he doesn't sense her hand moving. Like it's just these kinds of things that you're just like, come on, and she's going to run away from him. He's not going to be able to stop the door from closing with his Jedi power that clearly he showcased in the fight with Qimir. He's not going to stop the door from closing for her to jump into that ship and take off. Come on. It's just these little things that they're asking us to believe that logically don't make sense. Haunted_Autumn says, I think Emilio was saying you could have made a better version of the Acolyte. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Sorry, Emilio. I thought you were saying my show, brother, man. All this money. So I'm sorry if I misunderstood you, brother. My apologies, my friend. Emilio was saying you could have a better, yeah. So, yeah, you're right. I don't think I could have developed a better show. I'm not one of those people that says like, oh, I could do better. I think that's vanity, and to me, it's more about what are you giving me? I want to take a look at it, break it down, analyze it. And if I love it, I'll tell you I love it because it really worked for me. And if I don't love it or it's kind of okay, I want to be able to say like, what is it that didn't work? What are the things logically that you can point at and say, hey, this doesn't make sense. I'm not always right, but certainly my opinion, I feel very strong in what I feel about these things, which is why I have a YouTube channel, to be honest. Thanks for clearing that up for me, Haunted_Autumn. And Emilio, my apologies, brother man, if I'm for misunderstanding you. I'm never I never hesitate to take responsibility if I misunderstand. Just when you get people attacking you all the time, sometimes you can misunderstand things that people say. So please accept my apology to you, brother. Tim Sim also come back in and says, maybe different perspectives on what is great storytelling / different generational differences in perceiving Star Wars. Finding it odd how I'm enjoying the recent Star Wars, unlike others in the Rocha Harloff sphere. Yeah, it's very possible. Or it's also possible that it just worked for you, Tim. And that's the thing that you can't quantify in the world of, how can I say this? This is something that you can't quantify in the world of Star Wars. In the world of art. You can't quantify this in the world of art. You never know what is going to work for you that is not going to work for other people, and what is not going to work for you that works for other people. So, you don't need me or Harloff to validate your opinion on the Acolyte if you like it. You don't. It's your feeling, your opinion, you gravitate to it. I love watching those stupid Transformers movies because I just enjoy them. They're dumb. I can turn my brain off for 3 hours and just have them on as background sometimes when I'm working and doing stuff because I don't take it seriously. It's fun. But a lot of people hate those movies. So it just always is a matter of like what works for you, what doesn't, right? And that's why art is so important, because what one person hates, another person loves. What one person loves, another person hates. But either way, the people who find something to love are being satisfied. And that's the point of art, is to find an appreciation amongst some people or a lot of people, um, and finding something that speaks to you, right? And so that's what I think is important at the end of the day. So Roberto Suarez says, aren't identical twins one zygote that splits into two, creating two copies of the same person? How is this different from Osha and Mae's origin? It's a good question. It's a good question. Like, but clearly their origin is tied to the virgins, and Anastasia had some mystery power that we still don't know what it is. They decided to not tell us and drag it out as a tease, as a carrot on a stick for the second season. And this power is apparently what motivated Sol to try to get the kids away from Anastasia, but we don't know what that power really is. We don't know why that power is so dangerous. But just because it can create life, well, what does that mean? Right? Like, what is this all about? So just questions overall. Part of interpreting is adding if it's not in the show, brother. If it's not there, that's you adding something that isn't there. So that's all I'm saying about the Sol or the Mae and Osha twist here. Fantastic says, hey, Outlaw, still at work. Haven't seen the Acolyte. Want to drop in and show support. I'll catch up later. Thank you, Fred. I appreciate that, brother, man. I can't believe I've been on for over an hour. I really did not expect to stay on this long. So thank you, everybody who's been hanging out with me. I haven't seen any Streamlabs come through, so I just want to make sure I don't miss any Streamlabs. But thank you for all the super chats. I'm really extremely surprised that so many of you are hanging out with me. 350 of you are hanging out with me on the show. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, I'd love you to do so. You know, I'm trying to get to 50,000 subscribers. I don't do shorts. I don't do the clip outs. I just do the shows, man. And I'm trying my best to get people to subscribe to the channel. I think we do great shows. I think we have fantastic co-hosts on all the shows we do. And I think we create great content. So, I'd love it if you're visiting me for the first time to subscribe down below and take a chance on all the stuff we got going on here. Would appreciate it. Derek is back. Derek, what's up? He said there's so many plot holes. Twin virgins, Osha's change of heart in like 2 days. Yeah, exactly. In like 2 days, she's like, oh, Qimir, I'm going to go be with you, even though you killed Yord and Jecki. I see your logic because Sol killed my mom. What? I guess muscles in a deep voice and, kind of giving you the look with my eyes does a lot of the work in that situation. Qimir's backstory, yeah, which we still have known nothing about. Witch's prophecy. Why were the witches there? Why did they settle on Brendok? What was that all about? Second wife disappears. Right. Where's Coral? Where's Coral? Where did she go? Why does he turn black-eyed in that moment when Osha has the helmet on and goes into another place? Is that connected to Coral and the witches? Osha's one-day power-up. Yeah, 100% Derek. The fact that she embraced her powers so quickly in one day after being unable to use them for a majority of the time on the show. And what causes that to happen? Sol admitting that he killed their mom. That's the trigger to all of a sudden your power is coming. I don't know. Yeah. Sol's weird obsession. Yeah. Still no explanation for that. This wasn't a Sith story like they told us. Yeah. But, again, I'm not going to blame Leslie on this. I am in my heart, and I have no evidence to back this up other than, a couple of sources. But in my heart, I think they saw another dark Star Wars. I think a certain person with a cowboy hat and other people went into those scripts, changed things around. Leslie didn't fight them or maybe did, but realized, I signed a contract, and she got her Star Wars story out. And look, she can put on her resume, I did a Star Wars series. Not a lot of people can say they did a Star Wars series. So, she's one of I think you can count on two hands the amount of people have gotten to tell a Star Wars story. So, that's fantastic for her. But yeah, there are issues, and I think people were involved in messing this up, because I think it would have been a pretty awesome dark Sith story, but it didn't really happen. So let's see if I got any. Where else have I got? Any more Streamlabs or super chats? Oh, here we go. Fanboy Cantina says, "Thanks for everything you do, Rocha." Thank you, Fanboy. I appreciate it, brother man. It's very kind of you to send in a donation. Thanks for always coming around, Fanboy. You're the best, man. Al Rencha says, "What is Qimir's connection to Sol? We never got it." Right. Yeah, right. Because Qimir, great point. Qimir hinted at something from Sol's past. Is it just that he killed their mom? Is that what it is? And why does Qimir have this information? How does he know all this? Right. And so questions have to be asked. There are things that are alluded to. And the thing is, I know this is the thing at the end of the day, too, is like you've got to prep the audience for what you're doing, right? Vogel was talking about this on the Geek Buddies the other day. Like Shogun, or maybe we were talking about it off camera, but Shogun, like, they did not say, we got a season 2 coming. Well, they didn't say any of that, right? This is an insulated story. It's not even season 1. This is just Shogun, the series, the season, right? So you watch it, and at the end, they go, you know what? It did so well. We're going to do a season 2. But every storyline was satisfied by the end of Shogun. With the Acolyte, there are so many loose threads. That means from the beginning, they knew they were wanting to create a multi-season show. And if that's the truth, that's how they should have prepped the audience. We are focused on creating a multi-season show. This is season 1 of our show. And you should know that from the beginning. And this is how it's pitched. So there will be some questions answered. There will be and honestly, the idea of needing to read everyone's interviews in order to understand what the intentions and the goals of this, to me was, it doesn't make sense. So yeah, not a positive thing in my mind. Okay, so let's see. Is there any more? I hope I didn't miss anybody's here, because I know I should get going here in the next 10-15 minutes. Is there anything else that you guys want to hear me talk about that I didn't talk about from tonight's episode? Because I'm happy to talk about it, but I just want to let you guys know. Oh yeah, and Ed brought up a great point. Great to see you, Ed. Thank you, Haskell, for being in here. Always great to see you, brother. Ed said, if that is Yoda, we don't know if that's Yoda. I mean, it seems to indicate that it's Yoda, but we didn't see a face shot, so it's very possible that it's not Yoda and someone else. Could be Yaddle. A lot of people are speculating Yaddle or in something. So yeah, possible. We shall see. All right. The alien in the cave is Plagueis. Okay. If that's how they're going to introduce him, okay, fine. That's not how you do it, man. I mean, if that's Plagueis, for those of us that don't know Plagueis too, like for those of us who don't know the full like knowledge of Plagueis, that's not how you introduce Plagueis live action for the first time. It just isn't. Hanging out in a cave with these fingers going across the thing. I suppose it's a great shout out for the people who know Plagueis, and they did the Leonardo DiCaprio, all of that shit. But like, if you're going to introduce a character that is massive and this important, having him just be something that crawls around a cave wall and then, we move away from it. And I guess that's what you're talking about, Tim, that introduction of one of the original Sith Lords. Fine. If you call that an introduction, fine. But I mean, that's a borderline cameo, seconds long cameo. And to me, it was like, oh, okay, I guess that's Plagueis. But like, where's the magic of the introduction of a character like this? So yeah, bit of a disappointment for me. Darth Gollum. That's hilarious. Josh says if we don't get a second season, I'll be pissed. Joshua. Joshua, from the ratings I've seen over the last few weeks, brother man, I will be supremely shocked if there is a second season. But then I don't know what the contract is with Leslie. So who knows? Tim says, all good, Roke, and I respect your comments. As for if a season 2 will happen, that Leslie left for, I highly doubt, due to how deeply fractured the fan base was for the day. Yeah, I agree, Tim. I highly doubt it as well, brother, man. I can't see it happening. And I think a lot of people would be upset about it for sure. Davistron, sorry about that. The whole show felt like it was made to sell a second season. That is an excellent point, Davistron, for sure. Like, as I was saying, they knew, right? String us along with cliffhangers to watch another episode to get the answers, get to the finale, and still no answers. Yes, as I said earlier in the season, before, because I remember I've said, like, I don't want to judge the show until all the episodes come out. But as I've said before in the season, if you guys haven't watched, if they didn't watch what happened in the first season of The Killing on AMC, which is, of course, a show that's remade from, I think, a Norwegian show or Dutch show. It's a remake of that show. The fact that that show ends the first season without answering the mystery of the whole mystery of the show, first season, is who took this girl and killed her, and you don't answer it in the finale, people were pissed. And half the audience came back for the second season. They solved the mystery in the first episode or two because the uproar was so loud, but they never captured the magic again of that first season. They never got the audience back again. They never got the numbers back again that they had from that first season because they fucked with the audience. And in a way, this show fucked with the audience by, as you said, stringing you along with all these teases and no answers and no satisfaction, right? And I'm sure there's going to be people who will smugly say, like, why do you know the answers? It's a mystery. Stay tuned next season. Why? It's not how it works, bro. That's not how it works. And especially for a show that was decreasing ratings week to week. It's not that you could have gone in and re-edited the show or whatever. Obviously, the show is the show. But I think it was a massive letdown. And a lot of people are thinking to feel like, wow, what was the point of me paying attention to all of this? When in the end, they just strung me along to go to. It's like you watch a TikTok. Like, I have become a watcher of TikTok. Yes, I do. I don't know if I have the guts to create content on TikTok, but I marvel at the people who create content on TikTok. It's really a lot of creative people on there. Winston's been doing great work on there. But like, occasionally you'll flip on a video and it says, wait till the end. And then you wait till the end and it's nothing, right? All of us have been duped by that. And you're like, oh, I just watched a 3-minute video for nothing. So you get angry because it's like, well, this is stupid. So now I just fast forward to the end on TikTok and see if there's anything really big that happens. If it doesn't, I just go right past it. So those are those things where you go like, you burnt me and I don't feel good about it, right? And so why would you do that to an audience in a series like this? It doesn't make sense. Wait till the end, wait till then no answers. So why would you come back? Yeah. Derek in here again. Thank you, Derek. Gosh, I really appreciate this. I feel like when you hire a director, you should let them tell their story, maybe some additions to fit into the whole universe, but that's it. An insider, do you know if there's a way to stop this kind of studio meddling? No, brother. Oh, as an insider, there really isn't, because it's all a case-by-case situation, right? Like if Steven Spielberg was to come in and do The Acolyte, no one's going to come in and tell him what to do with the scripts of his show, right? Leslie is still an up-and-coming creator and showrunner. And I guess when you sign these contracts, there is essentially the expectation that Filoni and Kennedy and other people who are the caretakers of Star Wars want to make sure that you're creating a show that they can get behind. And so they may go in and mess with your overall story and mess with some of the story beats, change some of the dialogue, change some of the character motivations, and then you have to make it work, because you're contractually obligated. You could leave for creative differences, but when you're a new up-and-coming filmmaker, especially as a woman in this business, you don't know how many opportunities you're going to get. So you got to make it work however best you can. That's why this to me is not like, let's blame Leslie. I think there's more to it than that. And so I that's why I can't blame her. But yeah, I mean, this is the thing. And I agree with you when a director, but then again, the studio's the one giving them the money. So you know what I'm saying? Like if you gave someone money to do something, I'm sure you're going to make sure they're using the money in the right way. So that's just how it works. There are certain directors that absolutely there'd be no studio meddling, but there are other directors who know that studio meddling is part of the situation when they sign the contract. So it's a case-by-case basis, and the studio meddling itself is a studio by studio basis, sometimes even all the way down to executive by executive basis. It all just all depends, brother. So there's no way to generally stop it from happening because it's also a thing. Dart says I skipped a super chat. Oh, did I? Let me see. Oh yeah, there we go. Louis Barry says they confirmed that's Yoda at the end. Oh, okay. All right. Once again, I have to go someplace else to confirm what happened on the show I just watched. It should be confirmed on the show. Why do I need to go watch it? Why do I need Manny Jacinto to tell me that it's a Sith Lord? He's a Sith Lord in an interview with EW. Why do I need Leslie to tell me there's a second Sith coming? And all, like, it just doesn't make sense. Put it in the show. Then you can talk about it later, and then if you put it in the show and it's satisfying, then you do interviews where you're talking about the second season and you're excited for the second season and what's coming for the second season. Instead, we are teased a bunch of things, no answers. We don't see that it's actually Yoda by the face. We have to read it in an interview. We have to read about the medal in an interview. Like, those kinds of things are just like, I don't understand the logic in that. I really don't. It just doesn't make sense. That being said, I mean, like the interview that my friend Maggie Lovett did on Collider with Leslie, I thought was fantastic. A lot of really interesting answers. I watched some of the interview that the Star Wars Explained people did with Leslie, Alex and Molly over there. I thought that was really great. Again, Leslie is fantastic. I love Leslie as a creator. I love Leslie as a Star Wars fan. She is a massive Star Wars fan. But I have to also be honest with what I saw tonight and what I felt overall about the series. So, yeah, that's my thing. Sketchcraft says, at what point will Lucasfilm accept the standard of quality in television writing? Fans seem to excuse by saying Star Wars is for kids. If HBO can hire the Succession showrunner for Harry Potter, then what? Yeah, it's a great point, buddy. It's a great point. You make an excellent point. You're like, at what point does Star Wars read the room and be like, look, we need to bring people in who are going to take this Star Wars in direction? But it's hard to do when someone like Dave Filoni is not a fan of the Andor type storytelling, is not a fan of the darker aspects of Star Wars. Never mind that he loves the wacky magical shit, and it's like, why can't we have the darkness if you want to float off into your witchy stuff? Like, why can't we have the darkness as well? And have stuff like Andor be more of a consistent approach to Star Wars. But hey, they're the ones who have earned their shots at being executives there and being higher up in the Star Wars company and making millions of dollars and hundreds of thousands of dollars in salary. So they get to make the decisions. That's the game. But Sketchcraft, I agree with you. I wish they would bring in creators of that kind of quality and leave them alone. Because I think if Leslie had been left alone, I would have been really excited to see what she was going to make with this movie, or with the series, rather. I would have loved to have seen what Leslie made if they had left her alone to do what she wanted to do, which is what they did with Andor, right? Andor kind of snuck underneath the radar of Kathleen and Filoni and Favreau over there, and Tony was able to do what he wanted to do with that show, and he created an incredible show. The problem is that it pissed off a lot of people at Star Wars because he created a show that was Star Wars, but was not their kind of Star Wars. And now, because it's so beloved by such a large number of the Star Wars fandom, it is now how can I say this? It is now a double-edged sword, because it's a great show that shows what Star Wars is capable of, but it's also the show that all the other Star Wars shows are being compared to, right? It's like Die Hard. You compare every action movie to Die Hard, they're all going to come up short. Well, most of them will come up short. Let's see here. I got another one. Oh, sorry about that. Let's see. Al Rencha says, I would rather see Boba season 2 over the Acolyte season 2. Maybe. I would probably be up for a Boba Fett season 2 over the Acolyte season 2. I think I can agree with that. Lewis Barry says, hope to get Skeleton Crew trailer at SDCC. Yeah, I can't imagine you wouldn't. I can't imagine you wouldn't, man. I'd be surprised if you didn't. So, let's see. I think that's all the super chats. Any Streamlabs came through? No, to be fair, I didn't tag it in the chat when we started, but I appreciate all the Streamlabs. I mean, all the super chats rather. And thank you to the 300 plus who joined me tonight. I can't thank you enough for hanging out with me tonight. I really appreciate it. Louis, did I skip another one of yours? Did I skip it? I just read it, didn't I? Did I skip another one? I just read it. Louis, give me a break, man. I'm trying to do the best I can with all these people in here. I'm doing the best I can, brother, man, while I'm talking. Have you noticed me take a break? I haven't taken a break. I've been talking straight for an hour and 20 minutes. Give me a little bit of slack here, Louis. You put exclamation points. Just get my chat again. Come on. I'm going to take a drink real quick. Sol, good to see you in here. I'm noticing some of your comments. I like this one. I would French kiss another season of Boba Fett before I gave ACOLYTE my phone number. Oh, man. Yeah, I got to hydrate. Oh, my God. All right. Let's wrap it up there because I it's almost 10 o'clock and I gotta unwind and maybe play some PS5 FIFA or something. And I know college football is coming out, I think today or tomorrow or a couple days from now it comes out. So I'll be getting that as well. Definitely going to be firing up the Twitch channel. I've got a second monitor. I'm going to move the PS5 here so I'll be able to play with the camera on me, and hopefully that'll be fun to do on the Twitch channel and rev things up. But yeah, no, don't worry, brother, man. Louis says, I thought you didn't read it for a second. Sorry, don't sweat it, brother. I was just giving you shit, my man. Come on. Mr. Filmstock. Thank you, Mr. Filmstock. I appreciate it. Good face. I love that avatar. Mava Threeper says, amazing stream. Need to watch your Twitch, John. Yeah, I'm building it. I'm gonna get back on and play and have fun doing that. But thank you all for hanging out with me tonight. I appreciate it. I hope we addressed some of the everything that happened in the show. And as I said, we're going to go live tomorrow night with the Geek Buddies. We're going to have so much fun breaking this thing down. Going to get much more into the specifics and hear from Mike and Shannon, their points of views on it. And of course, the Jedi Way. You saw Kevin was in here earlier. Smets and Laura and I will definitely have a fun time breaking this thing down. But I thought for a finale, I'd take a chance and go live. In no way did I think 350 people were going to be joining me. So I have to say thank you very much to all of you for hanging out with me tonight and watching this. And there will be no time codes. So because I have no idea where to even split it up. So if people want, I hate to break it to you, you have to watch the whole stream. But those are my thoughts here. But thanks to all of you for hanging out tonight. Really, honestly, a lively chat is always fun to see. You guys talking with each other is always fun to see. And thank you very much for all the super chats tonight. I really, really do appreciate it. It's very kind of you all to send that in here to support what we do. And I'm definitely making it a point to go live more again, like I used to in the early days of the Outlaw Nation. So there's a very real possibility that I will start doing much more consistent live content here on the channel. The Nation is certainly going to start coming back as the election stuff is ramping up. I think the Outlaw Nation show is going to have to come back. Certainly Spill the Tequila. Winston and I are talking about making that a consistent show. Obviously, the Hot Mic is live. And maybe I can talk to Geek Buddies into going live once a week as well, which would be a lot of fun to do that and see if they'd be up for it. So I just feel drawn to do more live stuff. I'm just a naturally better as a live person than I am when I do these pre-recorded stuff. So but there'll be a balance, and we'll see down the road. So thank you all so much. You guys are the best. I love you madly. Please remember to subscribe to the channel down below. Hit that bell button if you haven't subscribed. Really, really appreciate it. Follow me at The Rocha Says on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, as you see down there as well. And, of course, my podcasts, The Cinephiles, The Geek Buddies, and The Hot Mic that are out there for you all to subscribe to. And The Cinephiles, we just dropped episode 1 of The MASH. The 1970 film MASH, we broke it down. Part 2 will be coming out later on this week, where we break down the rest of the movie, and we got some shorts out there for you all as well. But as I said, Geek Buddies tomorrow, Jedi Way Loren, Hot Mic on Thursday. Pay attention for all that. And my reaction of watching the episode will be dropping at some point tomorrow as well. You guys are awesome. Thanks so much. Appreciate you hanging out with me live. Take care of yourselves. Be well. And I'll talk to you next time with another brand new live stream and reaction video here on the Outlaw Nation. Take care. Peace until then.